So now that you've done making the candle and took into consideration all the variables necessary for making the candle, and you can see those in one of my videos. Now that you're going to be burning it, what are the variables that you should be looking at then? So in this video, I will be quickly going over the variables that I look at when burn testing my candles. I'm sure other people will have very similar kind of variables that they're looking at. It will be a spreadsheet that you can download for free. I'll put the link in the description below, and feel free to change it up, do whatever you got to do to make it make sense for you. So looking at the spreadsheet, it's pretty simple and straightforward. We have our variables right here. Oh, comments is not a variable, but we got our variables right here. First 4-hour burn, second 4-hour burn, third 4-hour burn, so on and so forth. One thing too, I should most probably mention is, it is technically good to burn for 4 hours at a time. If you're going to do it for less, just keep that in mind, that that might affect certain things. So just keep in mind that it is normal to do it at 4 hours initially. Let it, let the melt pool be full, so on and so forth. I'll just quickly go over it here. So starting off with the wick size, obviously we want to know what the wick size is. You most probably will have this also in your one of your variables in your making candle sheet, the one that I made another video on, but I still put it here as well, so that way I know how it acts with everything else, all the other variables. Second, we have the melt pool. Obviously, we would like a full melt pool. So I'm talking, when I say melt pool in this case, I'm talking about a full wall-to-wall. Now, it sometimes does happen that there's a bit of hang-up, and it's okay to have hang-up, just as long as it's not starting to tunnel. Next is the pool depth. Obviously, we don't want the pool depth to be like half of the jar. Well, in that case, you got bigger problems, I feel like. But it should be approximately a quarter to a half inch. But again, you'll just have to test it and see what the pool depth is. Keep in mind what it should be, what you have, and go from there. Flame size. Obviously, you don't want the flame size to be too big. You don't want it to be too small. Otherwise, it will just stop working at one point. Again, I usually have this in terms of like inches, how big it is. So keep that in mind. Mushrooming. Mushrooming is pretty normal with candles in general, but obviously you don't want a big lump sitting there either all the time. And just one thing I also realized is, just because there is mushroom, maybe like one time there is a big lump, that doesn't mean that it's all failed right away. I had where I did have a big lump. I was cautious of that, but then literally after that, it was absolutely perfect. Well, as perfect as can be. So just because you might get a big lump, not necessarily fail right away, just keep that in mind, move from there. So then we have the cold throw. Now this is not necessarily going to maybe it might make or break depending for you, right? But I still like to just keep it in mind for myself after burning it for 4 hours to see, did the cold throw get better? Did it get worse? What's happening there? Again, this is all just for my own information, for my documentation. Now, hot throw obviously is what we are kind of looking out for in this case, because these are scented candles and that's the whole point of them. Hot throw, I usually describe it as strong, moderate, none. And one thing I guess to keep in mind is nose blindness, because I know I have personally smelled something so much, I was like, it smells like nothing. There's no hot throw. But yet, my girlfriend said I could smell it from, way out there. So just keep that in mind. Next, we have the jar temperature. This is just something to keep in mind because you don't want this to be extremely hot. One, if it gets way too hot, obviously it can crack, it can pop. Again, depending on your jar, too hot is not good, and it will, affect the jar. And obviously, if somebody tries to hold it or try to grab it, it could cause some burn. Now, obviously, no one's just going to hold it and be like, la, 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 la. But again, the point is you don't want it too hot, otherwise it can affect the burn, the jar, and safety in general. Finally, we have the comments. It's not really a variable, but something that came to mind is I actually write how much soot there is in the comments. So technically, if you really wanted to, you could add a column here and talk about the soot. Is there a lot? Is there little? Is there a lot on the jar? However you would like to describe it. But I usually just put that in the comments. And if there's anything else that I have witnessed while it's burning in its first hour, I could smell it all the way out there, or I cannot smell it, or I did have the fan running for whatever reason out there, and you can see the flame flicker a lot, or just your whatever you see, put it in there, because it will come back somewhere somehow that you'll be like, oh right, yes, this is what happened. And so as you see here, I have the second hour, third hour, fourth hour, and so on and so forth. So that way, at the end of your burn, if this was a good burn, you can say, I did this 4 hour 10 times, so I know that my candle will burn for 40 hours, for example. So this was just a quick video of the variables that I use when test burning a candle. So feel free to add, remove any other variables that we're missing. Feel free to comment about those as well. And hopefully this puts you on the right path to test burning your candles. Thank you for watching.